Hi, welcome to Sphericles, and today we're going to be going over how to add objects. So when you open the project, you'll see this view, which will say example map on the top and a bunch of stuff here on the right. But most importantly on the left, you should see the content browser. And here there's several folders, game, which contains map, meshes, Sphericles, starter content, and tones. You want to be navigated to Sphericles, which contains these four objects, these three folders, and this blueprint. Blueprints are kind of like objects in UE4, so you can use these to kind of code to make things happen in game. So back to adding objects, even though this says add objects here, we're not going to be adding an object through there yet. We need to go to objects. So we're going to remake the blob today. So that means we're going to right click, duplicate, which is easier, one of the previous objects that we've made. Name him the blob. Let's open him up. And now this window should pop up. This is that blueprint's window. And when you open it up, you should see these three tabs here on the top right. You want to be navigated to the graph tab, so that you can see all these wiry frame nodes for coding in this visual language. So you want to navigate to the construction script window as well, not the event graph. Construction script is what's called when the object is created. Namely, when the blob is formed, what is it going to be? So let's go ahead and delete everything so we have a fresh start. Before we do anything else, we want to add a tempo. Then you can do this by dragging the arrow to the right and letting go of the mouse. So type in tempo, and you can set the variable of tempo. 1 is standard, and tempo basically controls how fast the object wiggles, moves, how quickly the sounds go through their sound, like everything. It's the speed. If it's really high, your object will be very active. So let's go ahead and drag the arrow to the next thing we want it to do, which is add sound. So this is a sound that our object will make. So let's go ahead and give him, let's find a nice sound. Let's give him a DQ sound. You always want to select one that's blue on the left, because these are just the raw files. Both will work, but you want blue. So let's go ahead and add another sound. So after he plays that first sound, he'll play another sound. Let's go ahead and give him BBQ. Now we need to go to the part where we actually make the object. So objects in Sphericles are comprised of spheres and tubes. And to make the sphere, you just drag this guy out here, type in add caplet. Now caplet is what we call the spheres. So each caplet has these initial starting values, which they need in order to work. So let's go ahead and give him a radius of 1000. Let's give him a blue color because it's RGB. And this should be all for the first guy. Let's just drag this over. So we want our blob to have interesting movement. So he's gonna be made of these two spheres that move. So we have made one sphere, but now we're gonna make that sphere move by typing add position. Oh, sorry, we have to do it through here. You want to right click, uncheck context sensitive. So now we have a function that adds a position. So you want to drag the arrow once again. So this is what's called next. We'll drag the caplet reference that it returns. So when it makes the caplet, it returns this guy. So we're going to put him right there. So we're going to put him to move to 500. And we're going to give him another radius so that he'll change size. So we're going to make that next one 100. So he's going to start big, shrink, and move 500 units in the y direction. So now we want him to change color too. So let's go ahead and add an add color function. Once again, drag these guys to add to the new caplet so that they know which object they're adding this particular color, radius, position to. Let's give him a nice, let's make him red. So he's going to go from blue to red. Actually, let's make him yellow. So he goes from blue to yellow. So now we're going to drag this arrow here, and our first sphere is done. So we're going to add another caplet. We're going to put him, let's put him 1500 away. Because remember, our original caplet is 1000 in size, and he moves 500 units in the y direction. So you have to kind of picture these numbers in your head as you make these guys. So let's make the first one 100, and we have to make these reflect the initial values, because things get weird if spheres are different colors, at least in the same little time frame. So let's go ahead and add a position. And drag that there. Let's put him 1000 in the y direction and negative 1000 in the z direction. And you can copy and paste with these interfaces as well, just to speed things up a little bit. So let's go ahead and have this guy grow to 1000. And he's yellow as well because we copied and pasted that. So that's it. That's our object. Let's go ahead, hit compile. Oh, we have a compiler error because we need to connect these guys. Don't forget to do that. So now that we've made everything and this guy is all nice and done, we need to drag this caplet, parent caplet selection, to this one, the returned caplet from this guy. This is what creates the tubes, because it's saying this is the person I want you to connect to. And you only need to do this once, so we don't need to go and drag this to that or anything weird. So let's go back to here, back to the example map tab. Now we see our content browser again on the left. We want to navigate back to Sphericles, and now we go to add objects here. So once again, default components graph, you want to be on graph. And you'll see 3 tabs this time: construction script, event graph, and spawn object. If you don't, spawn object is on the left. Just double click it and it should open up. So spawn object is the function, quote unquote, where you can add the objects. So go ahead and using these instructions, we know them, so we won't have to read them out. Right click this guy and select add option to add another option. This is you can think of this as the list of objects the program chooses from when spawning. So we're going to add the blob, because we've now made the blob, and we wanted to choose our blob every now and then when spawning objects. So we need to go here on the left, and we need to make this equal to the number of options that we have. So that's 5 now. So now we save, compile, go back here, run. You run it through here, it'll be like a lot faster. So once Sphericles is finished turning on, launching, we can fly around, and there's the blob right there, going from red to this kind of greenish tone. And that's all there is to it. It's super simple. If you're not reading it out aloud and explaining how it works, you can make objects in about 30 seconds, as long as you have the math done. So go out there, have fun, make some cool objects.